Okay, so this is a state of the collection video for November 2022. I'm going to break this down into what stayed, what's gone, what's come in, and where I'm trying to go with the collection. So I will just start this off by saying, if you're particularly interested in any of these, other than these two, there are videos on my channel where I go into a lot of detail about them, why I bought them, what I think about them, long-term ownership, stuff like that. So I'm not going to be covering that off on this video. It's literally just to kind of gloss over them. And as I say, what's stayed, what's gone, what's come in, and what are my aspirations for the future. So we'll go through what stayed first, and they're never going to go anywhere. Very briefly, chose this watch from a group of watches that my dad had in his collection when I was 16. He said I could have one for my birthday. This was one I chose. It did actually come on a gold-plated, fake gold-plated or gold-plated bracelet, but through wearing it, it just wore off. And it got absolutely ruined, and stupidly I binned it. I wish I'd kept it, but I binned it. At some point, I've mentioned before, I want to get a new crystal on this. It's just got a glass, and I took it to a watchmaker where the old one broke, and he managed to amazingly get a fingerprint underneath it and smudge it, and thought it was okay to give it back to me like that. I'd like to get a proper crystal on it, get a proper nice strap on it, and then actually wear it, but I keep saying it and I've not come around to it, so that's that one. This one, my wife, now wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, went on holiday with one of her friends and then bought this in the airport for me. And I wore this from 16 to, I don't know, 20 odd. And then I didn't wear it through my university years. And then when I started working and I met my wife at university, I wore this, and I wore this for a long time. I wore this for about 4 years as well. That was my only watch. I really enjoyed that. So neither of those are ever going anywhere. This isn't the one I had originally. I did have a different one. I managed to get a chip on the glass. I've got no idea how. So I gave that one to my brother and bought this one, but it's the same watch. Exactly the same spec and colours and everything. And I do enjoy this. I wear this exactly when you'd expect to wear a G-Shock, when I don't want to wear my other nice watches. So it goes on holiday with me. If I go go-karting or if I'm going out and having some drinks with my friends, I'll tend to wear this watch. So it does get quite a lot of use, and it's got a lot of useful features on it. So I quite enjoy that still. I can't see that really going anywhere. In fact, I will say it's one of the first G-Shock I've ever owned. And because of the dimensions on it and the size of it, it does fit very, very nicely. So that stayed. The Omega. So I got this when I was 30, and when I made a career decision to go contracting, so self-employed as opposed to being permanent. And it's the same year and month my daughter was born. So this is coming up to almost 10 years old. As you can see, it's on a NATO strap. It came on a bracelet. I've been playing around with different NATO straps on it, and I have to say I'm wearing it more than I used to because of the NATO straps. Not only do I think they look great, but they're super comfortable too. So this is a Omega Seamaster Aquaterra Golf edition. So you can see it's got the green details on it with the Seamaster naming, and then around the edge of the inner bezel. And this is one of the first, if not the first, I think, Aquaterra they put the 8500 caliber coaxial movement into. So I really, really enjoy that watch. Again, not going anywhere. My IWC Mark 18 Le Petit Prince. So I bought this last December, I think, or last November. So I've had it for a year. Really, really like it still. Again, extraordinarily comfortable. Nice and thin. Very nice dimensions on it. Amazing clasp. Again, I've got details on the video on this. Very detailed videos on this watch, so I'm not going to go into lots of detail here, but absolutely love this watch. Almost sold it for that incoming, but I'll come on to that in a minute. So yeah, the Mark 20 came out this year, and unquestionably it is a better movement. There are some changes to the dial which I'm not going to go into. That they're very, very small, but there are changes. It does have better movement. It has a slight taper on the bracelet as opposed to this watch, but it loses the Le Petit Prince what's it called, collaboration. So on this watch, on the back where they had the collaboration with Le Petit Prince, you get that engraved, and I think it's really cool. And you lose that on the new ones. The collaboration's finished. and it's not enough of a change in the watch to make me move from my 18 to the 20. So love this, very nice watch. What left the collection? Okay, so the only watch to leave my collection was my Seiko. I'll put a picture in up here, and it was the SPB 213J1. I absolutely love that watch, to be honest with you. It was, at that price point, I think an incredible watch. But bracelet aside, and again, I've got more detailed videos on that. It was a very, very nice watch. But when I bought this watch, I was never going to wear it anymore. And when you go to your watch box and you've kind of, some people will still wear their Seikos when they've got way more expensive watches than me. But when I go to my watch box, I've only got one wrist and a certain amount of time. I would always choose one of these three over that watch. So for me, it was just the right time to move it on. Really enjoyed it. The buyer was very happy with it. It was still in very good condition. So I enjoyed my time with it. And again, played with that around with that on rubber straps and NATOs and things, and it was good. So completely unexpected incoming in the Pelagos. Again, lots of videos on my channel about this, so I'm not going to go into detail. Lots of people have lots of different views on this watch, but ultimately I wasn't expecting to buy it. I own the original Pelagos. I've owned a Black Bay GMT, the original 58, and a blue 58, and this now. And this is my favourite Tudor of all of those. For me, it takes all the modern aesthetics I like about Tudor. So it's got the very nice oyster style bracelet with the smooth taper on it. It's got the new T-fit adjustment system. It's got the amazing bezel action. Hang on. With the extra detent at 12 o'clock. It's got the incredible loom. It's got the incredible movement. Lovely dimensions. I love the side profile of this compared to my 58s with the thicker bezel compared to the thinner bezel on the crystal. I think it's a really, really nice watch. So I went to go view it at the authorized dealer and put down a deposit. And my intention was actually to sell the IWC to go towards it, and I would have got more for the IWC than this is worth. But thankfully my wife said I didn't need to sell it, which was extraordinarily gracious of her. And yeah, really good, because I'm starting to get a bit more of a nice collection going. So this is the only incoming this year. So that's where I currently sit. What are my kind of plans, and where's my watch collecting going? So I've experimented with cheaper brands. So I had a Zelos Horizons, I had a Longines Conquest for a very long time. I had that Seiko. Obviously I've got my G-Shock. But for me, I just don't enjoy them as much as this kind of price point and above, really. The quality of the movements, the quality of the finishing, the quality of the bracelets, the clasps, not all times, but most times. And I just derive more pleasure from this level of watch. So for me, the idea is to consolidate the number and bring up the quality. So I know lots of people will have, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, 40 watches of varying values. They'll have a few big hitters, they'll have lots of ones potentially like these, and then lots of Seikos, and like I say, other micro brands and such. And I've kind of dabbled with that area and definitely worked out that they're all compromised in some way. The Seiko bracelet was, if I'm being blunt, I think it was horrendous. And it wasn't a cheap watch. What new at retail for almost £1,200, but I just don't think the bracelet was up to it at all, especially with the clasp. So they're all compromised in some way, which you'd expect at that price. It was still a fantastic watch. And to be fair, the aquaterra is compromised with the bracelet, only having half links, so you can't get a perfect fit. But the rest of the bracelet and the way it's manufactured is very, very nice. So you kind of put up with it. So anyway, that's the goal. It's to reduce the number and increase the quality. I've got one purchase coming next year, and then I'm planning to slow down because I'm turning 40 next year. So I'm looking for kind of an aquaterra equivalent that will be timeless. I can put it back on the bracelet. I can wear it in all situations. I could happily, if I had to, sell everything and just have the aquaterra as my one watch. I don't want to because I enjoy watches, but I could if I had to. So that's the goal. I need to kind of rein in spending in a bit, buy one watch next year, and then see how I end up. And I want something different. So you can see here I've got a Tudor, an IWC, an Omega. I don't really want another one from one of those brands. I'd like a different style, a different dial colour. All of these are quite different, and that's what I like. I'm only ever going to have a small collection of probably between 4 and 6 nice watches, plus 3 and other things that kind of come and go, but I'll always be around 4 or 6 nice watches. So I'm not the kind of person that's going to get 6 variants of a Submariner or 2 or 3 different styles of aquaterra, because you can easily buy the aquaterra world timer, which looks incredible. But I've already got an aquaterra, and while it's a completely different dial and different function and capability, the case is the same, the bracelet's kind of the same, it's got the same style with the twisted lugs and so on and so forth. So I'm looking for as much variety as possible in a small collection from and different brands, and I want to experience lots of different brands. I'm still, excuse me, I'm still quite keen to have a Glasuta Originale, the CQ or the Panamatic Luna, potentially a Reverso, the dual time, at some point. What else? There's lots of other watches. Why I cannot think of them now. The Bulgari Octo, not necessarily the Finissimo, but I do like the Octo. I tried that on a long time ago when I was on holiday. Jaeger Ultra Polaris, and they've got other JLCs, not just the Reverso and the Polaris. Blimey. I do really want a Rolex GMT Master 2, but I just can't see that happening the way the retail prices are going and difficulty it is getting them, especially as I'd like the BLRO on a Jubilee, and I'm not going to pay the kind of money they are for retail. Gosh, I've looked at so many different brands. My mind's just gone blank. So I follow lots of watches on Chrono24. So anyway, the point is lots of watches to experiment with, keeping the number under 6, and importantly, for my 40th, it needs to be a watch that can hang around for the rest of my life effectively, because I'm never selling that watch. I mean, it would have to be dire straits. Everything would have to go, the car, the watches, for me to have to get rid of that one. So my 40th one needs to be something really special as well. So we will see. I'd imagine there probably won't be any questions, but if there are, I like to finish the videos with, if you've got any questions, just let me know.